First of all, I want to make it clear that the government has done tremendously good job in the energy sector from where they started. There was no power actually in the country, and we had load shedding and everything. The industrial production was not there. From there, we can hear it's a very long way and very successful where government came through. And in terms of economic growth, we also, like the previous panelists, they were underscoring that the government's economic growth is really significant compared to other in the world. So, which is notable. But the reason we want to always highlight the loopholes in the government's efforts or the big policies on big projects is to make those things efficient more and sustainable more. If you see the last statement of John Knox, the Special Rapporteur of Human Rights in the United Nations, in his last statement, he issued a statement for the Sundarbans. And in his statement, he was mentioning that the people who, like us, are to be treated as champions of sustainable development. So please receive whatever we are saying as an additional, our intention is to help government to make their efforts sustainable and very much fruitful for the nation in the long run. Sorry for the long introduction, but I would also like to say a few words about the background of our engagement in the energy sector. We are environmental activists and we are an environmental organization. So we always are engaged in protection of the environment, ecology, livelihood, and people's rights that are hampered by the initiatives that destroy the ecological organs of the country. Bangladesh is the most densely populated country, which is active largest delta in the world. So environmental pollution and environmental destruction actually creates humanitarian catastrophe here. That's why it's very important not necessarily for the economy, but also for the very existence of the country. So when we found that the Sundarbans, which was more than 46% of the forest itself, was severely under pollution, possible pollutions from fossil fuel burning, we actually entered into the energy sector. And then we were saying that environmental activists are emotional, so they don't understand the technology and they don't know that coal is not harmful anymore. There are technologies like supercritical technology, ultra supercritical technology, and all these things. So we needed to study, we needed to engage scientists, we engaged professors from UC Berkeley, we engaged professors from Columbia University, of course from Pune University of Science and Technology, and professors from academics from other public and private institutions in the country, to know what actually it can do in terms of harming the Sundarbans if we develop those power hubs as it was envisioned in the Power System Master Plan 2010. You all know when TEPCO was forming this policy, they envisioned the energy mix from fossil fuel, more particularly from coal, to be more than 70% when it was only 2% with them. That's why we hosted a two-day international conference in Prague in 2015 on coal energy in Bangladesh, impact on water and climate. And we gathered all the possible scientists, academics, civil society, government peoples in Prague, and we found that the first North Pole is going to be benign for the Sundarbans. It will significantly harm the Sundarbans. So we came up with a recommendation to review the Power System Master Plan, and government also did it. In 2016 they reviewed it, and still they have an ambition to come up with more than 30 new coal-based power plants in the country. So we came up again that every nation all over the world, people are abandoning coal. China is shutting down more than 1,000 coal mines. So I can still remember in Lake Shore, before COVID, we had a very big meeting And a study paper was published by Sydney University jointly with one of the organizations in our country. And the then Planning Minister, Mr. Abdul Mannan MP, was the chief guest of the event. And when Mr. Kaikaus was the secretary for the Ministry of Power, I can still remember that Dibanda was also there. And the Planning Minister came very straight. Yes, you are right. We will not get raw materials, we will not get spare parts because everybody is shutting down their coal plants. So, of course, we should think about renewable energy and going forward how we can do it. But Bangladesh is a country that cannot do everything independently. We need technology support, we need finance support. So, what I want to say is it's not only the government, when we talk about the power sector and energy sector, it's also the development partners who have very important role to play. And here in this conference, you can see we have gathered successfully all the stakeholders, including the USAID, European Union, and many other development partners. And I am also involved in many of their initiatives. So it's my overall thing, and I want to conclude my speech just to address some of the very important issues came up from the other panelists since the morning today because I was listening to them very carefully. I want to make clear about some of our positions. As for example, in terms of adaptation mitigation, we were discussing, Marathi Ubai was telling that Bangladesh is adaptation more than mitigation. The delegation from the European Union was saying they were giving more emphasis on mitigation. But to us, of course, adaptation is right away. People are dying. The river banks are under erosion. Extreme weather patterns are hitting the coastal community. We don't have water. In many places, from salinity intrusion, sea level rise, upstream, lack of upstream flow, and so many other things. Dhaka city itself, every year, more than 2 meter groundwater depletion is happening here. If it turns like that, in 2050, we have to find water from this ground under 120 meters. Is this a feasible thing for a city to sustain? No. So, of course, we need assistance, not assistance. We need support, not support. We need money and capacity, technology to face the adaptation right here because people are dying. But people will be dying tomorrow as well. The extreme weather patterns are not coming alone. It will bring another one. It will become another one. The extreme heat wave, El Nino is going away, La Nina is coming up. So then the huge rainfall will be coming up. How will be the flooding situation of the country? So if we do not protect the Sundarbans, we cannot protect the southern part of the country. And it is nothing new. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman in his early speech in the 70s is saying, if we cannot protect the Sundarbans, the erosion we cannot protect that will come and touch Kuminda and Dhaka. So it is nothing new. We have to protect. We have to also put emphasis on mitigation if we want to protect our population in our country. Of course, the planet, which was a bigger, understanding from European Union, and I agree with it. But more above all of it, we started crying for the justice and climate justice from very beginning of the climate talk. But it took long, more than 20 years in Sharm el-Sheikh to come up with the issues of loss and damage. And only the last year in Dubai, some funds are also given there. It is not us who are responsible for this climate catastrophe happening in our population. Of course, the Western nations and the developed countries should take the responsibility. And of course, we should demand the reparations, not the loss and damage. We need historical loss and damage to be met up. So our government, we demand from the people to put emphasis on all these three: adaptation, mitigation, and reparations. And I will be also, I'm sorry I'm getting longer, but let me be quick. Another thing, the European delegation was telling about the regional renewable energy market in South Asia. Yes, of course, I was also part of one of the regional initiatives initiated by IUCN about sustainable energy transfer in the Ganges River Basin. If you think about this continent, it has a historical reason for it to be thought about the geographical integration. So this, because we are the lowest riparian nation in the Ganges and Brahmaputra river basin. Think about how much power we produce from Ganges river system. More, about 100 dams are there in the confluence of tributaries coming from Nepal to India. Not necessarily Farakka. Farakka village is right there above Rajshahi. But if you think about the Ganges, whole river system, how much megawatt and gigawatt power is being produced from there. So of course we need regional integration, but for European Union as well. I was visiting Hainan recently in China. They have their overseas renewable energy finance policy already in place. So we are not competing between USAID and European Union and so on. We have China, we have India, we have so many other players who are actually very instrumental in the energy development sector. So I was part of the Team Europe initiative and I attended the breakfast meetings and I saw how struggle they have been doing for the last couple of years to identify bankable projects because they need to comply with some of the compliances. So our development partners need to also think about the ground realities in Bangladesh. It's like I tell everywhere, I told it to the mission representative of USAID as well. Like if you want to go to 25 kilometer away in the US or Europe, you need 25 kilometers. You can calculate it, you can understand it. But in Bangladesh, you may not reach 25 kilometers away in the same day. You don't know. So there are different realities on the ground. And to test that, you need to get relationship with the community. And to get the community relationship, the last point, Honorable Province was coming up with stakeholder consultation. During the SEA of Southwest region, there were 1,200 consultations, but not with us. So stakeholder, who the stakeholder is very important. So stakeholder selection and meaningful consultation is a very important thing we need to remember. Lastly, I want to say only one thing that was actually echoed by many of the speakers in the last session, which is energy security and sovereignty. If you think about the integrated energy power master plan that is standing up since 2021, it's again imported fossil fuel based. They came away from coal fascination, but they are now suggesting government to go for LNG and gas. And they are going to build the terminals in the coast of the Bay of Bengal. We do not want it. Our fisher folks are dying. They don't have food at their home. The hill shrinkage, you just ask the fisheries department how drastically it's fallen down. 100% salt industry is going to be imported. Salt is for Bangladesh is a strategic good. Salt is not a commodity anyway. I have to stop here. I can tell the whole day, but the intention is to grow the economy and strengthen the nation together. So we want to open up and talk to each other and try to solve the problems together. Thank you so much for listening.